Hello everybody, greetings from the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day Nick Touch, and so on and so forth. Just come straight out of the shower, straight onto Facebook, got a private message to answer. You know, you can find me on Facebook, so just connect, make friends and all the rest of that. This guy says, "Hey Nick, hope you're doing well." Actually at the moment I am doing very well and I'm feeling very happy, bright and optimistic and breezy on with the world and everything's cool. It says here, okay. As you know, I have an extreme interest in dreams, both lucid and non-lucid. But as of lately, I've been having some very strange experiences with shared dreams and what one may call prophetic dreams. That being said, I'll dream of a scenario, sometimes one quite out of the ordinary. Open brackets. Not in everyday occurrence, close brackets, and a few days to a few weeks of that scenario plays out almost identically to how I experienced it in the dream world. Okay. My shared dream experiences, where have I got? There we go, have been less frequent, and I'm trying my best to keep a skeptical mindset with this, but to say it's freaky would be an understatement. I'm definitely drawn to experimenting more with these phenomena, and with practice hopefully to be able to get better results and answers, and of course even more questions. I believe you've touched on this subject before, but if you have the time I'd love to hear your experiences of any methods or techniques you may have picked up to increase the likelihood of such an experience from occurring. Right, yeah, this is, when this stuff happens, it demonstrates to you there's something strange about nature. But people involved in New Age religions and all the rest of that will try and convince you that it's like an apologetic proof and evidence of their religion. Because that's all they're interested in. They're not interested in nature. They're not interested in the fact that there's strange things which happen in the world and it's natural. Which is upsetting for me. Okay, for me personally, I find that very upsetting. But that type of experience is what drove me into all this weird stuff head first, big time. Why? Because it is weird, and it happens. There was a book written a while ago, possibly in the 70s, I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the author, but the book was called An Experiment with Time. And it was a story of this guy who kept a dream diary every single night. And what he would do is he'd go through his life and then he would look back at his dream diary and see that there's a dramatic correlation between what he dreamt of like days, weeks, months or years previously and the way things played out in the more strange, like ordinary physical world life experiences that he had. And he started to develop a hypothesis that we're not just bound by the three dimensions, that we also live in the fourth, and these strange altered states of consciousness experiences that we have in dreams, for instance, and possibly other things like meditation, prayer, ritual and the rest of that, kind of like extends what we are and like the frontiers of what we as a perceptual being can be. And personal experiences that I've had have kind of like suggested that, yeah, because these prophetic dream experiences, I mean, if I hadn't had those things, I don't think I'd have ever gone to a New Age shop and bought myself a pack of tarot cards, ever. Right? That was like the final spark which sent me, you know, spiraling down the path of weirdness and hanging out with people who I really shouldn't have hung out with and listening to people I really shouldn't have hung out with and developing a bit of animosity against the whole New Age world, which has basically been the foundation of what this one particular video blog has been about, really. But I had those experiences. Shared dream experiences, yes, I had them. I even made some happen when I was doing meditation one night at about, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning when I was in college. And it was like, 9 months later I went on a pub crawl with this guy and he told me this strange dream he'd had like the 9 months previously, and it was the same dream in the same location which I had created at the same time of year for him to experience. And I didn't tell him about it and he didn't know I was doing it. This is nature in action, okay? This is like gravity, the radiation coming from the sun. This is like the interaction between amoeba or whatever. This is nature. And it's just, we all find it weird because, you know, we're not really in a culture of like accepting the fact that this stuff is natural. Because it happens rarely and it's difficult to control. And we as humans want everything simple. We want to be able to turn on the electric light and hey presto, it works, right? So people can't turn around and say about this dream creation experience thing, it works, but we can say that it happens. And it still freaks me out, okay? Yeah, I mean, it does freak me out. It is weird. And it's wonderful. And it's natural. I mean, it doesn't freak me out as much because it's happened so many times before. I think, okay, so, you know, that's another one of those things that's just happened. What can you do to make the shared dream experiences thing happen more? Practice visualization in meditation, keeping conscious control and trying to feel that you're sending the dream to somebody and know who they are and picture them in the dream dressed the way that they normally dress and connect with their image or whatever that way. Maybe, I mean, that's what I seem to be able to do occasionally. And I've done many, you know, many more attempts at doing it which have failed and have worked. But when it does, in inverted commas, work, it's weird. Sometimes a more like singular emotion or singular message associated with the dream works better than something really complex, like dreaming that you're sitting down and having a deep conversation about the economy and society and no, keep it simple, a simple image, a simple message which you can just simplify it. Make it a little emotional somehow in a manner that doesn't upset your meditation, which is difficult to work out and plan and do. And what about the whole dream experiences thing? Well, I mean, the prophetic dream thing, that's again another series of mad questions. Programming yourself somehow so that you will, I mean, using things like peaks of emotion after chanting and then making a wish. That's what I did. And that's what started me having those dream experiences, those prophetic dream experiences, which was bizarre. Okay, so I basically done a chaos magic ritual without knowing I was doing a chaos magic ritual, basically. And of course, after it, I laughed it off and thought I'm just being stupid. And that's presumably the banishment phase, so I stopped being concerned about it and thinking about it, and hey presto, it started to happen. I don't know. It's just, it's something which happens which people will say they know all about it, okay? Or they'll say about it that they know everything about it, I should say, okay? But they can't. No, none of us can. But it's there, and it's real. And it will change the way in which you see nature and life. And what I get from this is a sense of like connection in time and space and being a bigger being than just my, you know, 70 years and 10 in the physical. Maybe my consciousness had some kind of thing which happened before I was born as well, and maybe it'll carry on afterwards, and maybe because of the whole dream to telepathy thing, am I actually connected to everybody on the face of the planet somehow as well? Maybe. Maybe we're all brain cells in the head of God, which means that God is spending most of his time thinking a lot of bollocks at the moment, but, you know, maybe we have to accept that as well, and we have to try and change the group consciousness through making YouTube videos and sending out Twitter feeds and talking about this stuff. Because if you don't get excited about weird shit like this, there's something wrong. You know, there's something wrong. it just makes the world a lot bigger. And it makes your experience, your understanding of existence a lot bigger. And your understanding of yourself as a person a lot bigger. And there's millions more questions to be asked. And there's very, very few answers.